In this video, we go over the best controller settings for Warzone 2. If you want to aim better, move faster, and loot quicker, make sure you watch till the end of the video because we go over a few settings that are not talked about anywhere else. So jumping straight into the advanced tab in our controller settings, we have target aim assist. Leave this on. Obviously, we want to have aim assist whenever we're on controller. And for aim assist type, we have 4 options to choose from. So with precision and focusing, we do not want to pick any of these 2 options because it doesn't have rotational aim assist. And whenever you strafe left or right, and you're facing an enemy player, we want that rotational aim assist, right? And that's the overpowered part. So obviously we want to pick default or Black Ops, and Black Ops, they just renamed this. In last year's Warzone, it was called Legacy, right? So if we're used to playing Warzone for the last few years, just pick default, right? Default and Black Ops, they perform very similarly. So honestly, you can test which one works best for you, but I've tested both and they feel very similar to me. So I just left it on default. And if you scroll down here, you notice that there's a new setting called gyro aiming. And with gyro aiming, that's pretty much whenever you tilt your controller up or down or left or shift it to the left or right, you can start to aim with your controller. So if you turn this on, it actually messes with your aim assist. So I've tried it a little bit and honestly, it would just throw your aim off a lot, right? So I would just leave this on off. So the next setting is aim response curve type, and I have mine set on dynamic. So with this setting, I'm able to beam enemy players at a far distance with a very precise control with my right thumbstick, right? But also if they're super close to me, I can also turn a 180 on someone super quickly, right? So I would have this on dynamic. For ADS sense multiplier for focus, this is when you're using a sniper and you're holding your breath. So for me, I leave this on 1 because that's the setting that works for me. If you're having trouble missing your sniper shots, then you can try and lower it down. But for me, 1 works perfectly fine for me. For your ADS sensitivity transition timing, I have this on instant. And for your custom sense per zoom, this is what I have. This is going to be different for everyone, right? But this is what I have. So for my low zoom, I have mine at 0.9. So in case enemies are running or like jumping around when I'm trying to fight them at close quarters, I'm still able to aim at them and move my thumbstick very quickly so I don't miss my shot. So for any of these settings for these other zoom settings, I have mine at a lower setting. So whenever they're at a farther distance, I'm able to have a more precise aiming whenever I'm aiming down sight. All right, so for inputs dead zone, this really all depends on your controller for these first 2 settings, right? So for left stick minimum and right stick minimum, if you are starting to see some sort of drift, you would want to increase this a little bit. So if I put this both on 0, and you'll actually start to notice that my controller is starting to move left and right very slightly, right? And you can also see that my aim is going to the upper right a little bit. So if you're starting to see this for your operator in game, you would want to increase the dead zone just a little bit, right? So for me, I know that my setting would be on here and here, right? So I would tweak it by 0.01 until your controller doesn't start drifting, right? So let me test it out over here. And it looks like it's perfectly fine, right? So my operator is not moving left or right, or the aim is not moving in any direction, right? So it's actually perfectly still over here. So for our left stick and our right stick max, so these are the 2 settings that adjust how far your stick needs to be pushed to produce like a max input, right? So for our left stick, this is the stick that controls our movement. So I have mine at 0.6. So that way I don't have to push my analog stick all the way down for me to run. So if you want to get from a standstill to running a lot faster, I would lower this down, right? So I have mine at 0.6 and that works well for me. And for right stick max, that is the stick for your aiming, right? So we want to have complete control and precision whenever we're aiming, right? So I have mine on the maximum setting. So for our left and right trigger, we want to put this all the way down to 0, right? We don't want to have any delay whenever we click our triggers. So when the setting is set all the way down to 0, there is no input delay whenever we click on our triggers. So leave this on 0. So under combat behaviors, we have ADS stick swap. So leave this on the off by default. And the next setting over here, the backpack alternate control, this is a game changer, right? So by default, it's on off, and when we have it on off, whenever you loot a backpack, you would have to use your D-pad to navigate the backpack interface, right? But when you have it on, you can actually just use your left analog stick. So have this on and it would make looting a lot smoother and quicker. So going down over here, this is grayed out, so just leave this over here. Weapon mount, movement exit, leave this on. For the weapon mount exit delay, I put mine on short. Depleted weapon ammo switch, so whenever you run out of ammo, my weapon will automatically swap to the next one, so I have mine on. For quick C4 detonation, I have mine on off. If you have this on, whenever you have two C4s, whenever you throw the second one, then the first C4 would automatically explode, right? So have this on off. For vehicle camera recenter, I have mine on short delay, and for the camera initial position, mine is on free look. For your scoreboard and map behavior, toggle is the best option. Ping wheel delay, I have mine on moderate, and same for my double tap danger ping delay as well. Now going over to the controller tab, so for your button layout, I have mine on bumper jumper tactical. So with this setting, I'm able to jump with my L1 button, and I'm also able to crouch with my R3 button. So this is really great because I never have to take my right thumb off the analog stick. So honestly, this is the best setting if you don't have a scuff, right? So you can try this setting if you want. If not, there's also stick and move, but for me, bumper jumper tactical works the best. For flip, L1, L2, and your other trigger points, I have mine on off. Stick layout preset, mine is on default. Controller vibration, I have this on off. Having it on is great if you want to feel more immersed in the game, but honestly, that's only great for whenever you're playing campaign, right? So if you're playing multiplayer or Warzone, have this on off. Going over to your horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, mine is on 8. I would recommend sticking to a range from 6 to 8. In the original Warzone, I played on a 7, but I feel like with Warzone 2, the aiming, or whenever you aim with your right stick, it feels just a little bit slower, so I play on an 8-8. If you increase it up to over 10, you'll find that your aiming or your centering would be a little bit off. And if you make yours a bit too low, you'll find that you might not be able to keep up with enemies, right? So the best sweet spot is honestly from 6 to 8. So I would pick one of these settings, 6, 7, or 8, and see which one works best for you. For your sensitivity multiplier, this is all for your whenever you're in a car or if you're using a streak. So I just have this all on the default setting, which is on 1. Vertical aim axis, this is all on standard as well. And for your aim down sight behavior, we have this on hold. And for the change zoom shared input, this is whenever you're using a scope and he has like a dual optic, say he has one for a 10x and one for a 2x, right? So I have mine on the default. You can change yours to melee, but for me, the default works perfectly well for me. So for automatic sprint, I used to have mine on auto tac sprint for Warzone 1, but with Warzone 2, the time to kill is super fast, right? And I don't want to get caught running in a tac sprint whenever I'm in a close quarters combat. So for me, I would rather just do that manually when I need to. So for me, I just have mine on automatic sprint. Equipment behavior, I have mine on hold. Weapon mount behavior, I have mine ADS plus melee. Another good setting over here is double tap ADSing, but sometimes that screwed me over like once or twice in the last few weeks. So I would have mine on ADS plus melee. Interact/reload behavior, so this is super important, right? So if you want to loot a lot quicker, you want to have this on prioritize interact. So that way, whenever you're picking up loot off the ground, you don't have to hold your button for like 2 seconds, right? So have this on prioritize interact. Armor plate behavior, you can play around with this. So I always have mine to apply all. So for armor plate behavior, I have mine on apply all, but honestly, apply 1 can also be a good setting because right now we can't run while plating up. And sometimes if you're in a close quarters combat and a person is coming, maybe you only want to apply 1, right? So play around with the setting. For me, right now it's apply all, but I might go back to apply 1. And that is it, guys. I hope this video helped. And if it did, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until next time, YouTube, peace.